the Easy Bake Oven has been part of American culture since 1963, right? And it's always been marketed to little girls. You want to have your Easy Bake Oven? I wanted one when I was a little girl. I wanted to make little cakes. Mostly because I wanted to eat them.
Well, I hear you on that, sister.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know if it's a gender expectation thing that my parents got in my head or anything. No interest in ovens, no interest in cooking when I was a kid. But what's interesting and ironic is that my favorite toys when I was a kid was guns.
Oh, okay.
I had every kind of gun you could imagine. Obviously, plastic fake guns, okay? But the Star Trek guns, the cowboy guns, etc. Now, obviously, I'm a huge advocate of gun control, so it didn't stick, right? But, you know, that's, and I don't know why I had that, if it was societal expectations or just I really liked the guns and I didn't give a damn about the ovens. But now, finally, we're about to get change, right?
Yeah, so 13-year-old McKenna Pope has a younger brother, and the younger brother wanted an Easy Bake Oven, right? So good for him. He wants to do a little baking. But they went to go buy one, and he noticed all the Easy Bake Ovens are either pink or purple. They're very, very girly, and he wanted one that had boy colors. McKenna
I would
Pope,
argue that purple is an acceptable male color. It's a royal color.
No. Purple's...
Happens to be my favorite color,
Yeah,
but anyway.
he likes, no, it's not just purple though, it's lavender.
No, I like all shades of purple, but lavender is particularly pleasant.
Oh, okay, all right.
All right, anyway, you see that? Defying gender expectations.
Right.
So
McKenna Pope kind of calls out Hasbro for it and says, what's up with the girly Easy Bake Oven? What about my brother? And believe it or not, Hasbro decided that they're going to come out with a male version of the Easy Bake Oven, and the colors will be black, silver, and blue. So they listened.
No, interesting. I like that those are the male colors. Black, silver, and blue, that's right.
That sounds pretty...
Man. I like that lavender girly stuff. All right, and Hasbro's been planning this a long time, right? It wasn't because of the pressure.
So, yeah, they claim that they've been working on the design of the male version for like the last 18 months.
Oh, of course they were. They just, right after they got the pressure on it, all of a sudden, hey, will you look at that? The 18-month project came to fruition a little afterwards.
Yeah.
And now they've got it.
You know what? It's fine. As long as they're listening to their consumers and they're paying attention, that's great. I love it. And by the way, McKenna also had people sign a petition. So a petition was involved. Over 40,000 people signed it.
Wow.
So
it's a really successful petition.
Yeah.
Now, as we were preparing this story earlier today, Anna says, oh, I know which way you're going to go with this story.
Don't throw me under the bus.
No, because I don't know. Apparently I have this,
macho man persona?
That's what people are like, oh, I'm really macho. My favorite color is lavender. But anyway, Pro, my 2.5-year-old son, has a little kitchen set, and I don't know if it's got a stove, it's got a microwave, etc. And he loves to like do little foods and bring it to us, and then I pretend to eat it and I throw it behind me, and I go gone, and he goes gone. And to me, it never bothered me. I like being manly, man, and I teach him football, and one of his favorite things is touchdown. So it's all good. I mean, he'd rather watch Diego. Let's keep it real. Okay, but so he brings eggs and bacon from his oven and brings it to me. So what?
So I don't know if you even know the answer to this, but I'm curious how the kitchen came about. Like, was it, we're walking through a toy store and he sees the kitchen and he wants it? How did it work out?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, and that's part of this story. It's that the parents impose their values on the kids, right? So now, look, he seemed to be interested in stuff like that. Like, whenever he saw it in the store, he might play around with it. But on the other hand, he'd probably play around with almost anything, right? And my wife kind of liked it. And next thing you know, Pro really wants it. And then now he's got a kitchen set. But it's okay. God bless. He likes it. He does it.
Nice.
As we learned from Gabba Gabba, try it. You'll like it. Try it. You'll like it.
I have daughters, and we have a kitchen set, and we have a lot of friends who have kids that come over, and all the boys love the kitchen set. Every single one of them, without exception. They love playing with it. It's a fun thing to play with. So Hasbro is smart for doing this because they now increase their potential customer base.
Yeah, and you know why it makes sense? Because they see their moms, both boys and girls, see their moms, I'll talk about gender stereotypes, see their parents, I should say, preparing food, etc. in the kitchen, and then they want to always, usually, emulate their parents.
Yeah.
So they think like, oh, I see Dad cooking in the kitchen. Maybe I should do the same.
Yeah.
And then they like to do it in their mini version. Makes all the sense in the world.
Do you know the story of Betty Crocker back in the 50s? They invented Betty Crocker, the homemade cakes where you didn't have to do anything. The housewife just put it in the oven, take it out, eat it. And they weren't selling. And they couldn't figure out why. They hired that guy Bernays, who was a relative of Sigmund Freud.
Yeah, his cousin's hollandaise, right?
All right, anyway, what they concluded is, no, the women feel guilty that they don't have to do anything. So let's change the recipe, make the women have to add an egg. And then they'll do it, and it worked. They changed the recipe, the women add an egg, and it's sold forever like hotcakes,
But
literally.
why?
Or like,
But
yeah,
what's-
like Betty Crocker cakes.
It's some psychological thing. The women didn't want to feel like they were doing nothing. They wanted to feel like they were contributing by adding the egg.
No, psychology is an amazing thing. We should do TYT psychology one day.
Oh, come on.
We already have too many channels. Okay. But I love psychology. And yeah, it's like cognitive dissonance is the most amazing thing. Like if you get somebody to do something for you, they're more likely to want to
Yeah.
continue to do things for you.
Yeah.
Right? Like you would think the exact opposite. Like I already did the motherfucker a favor, right?
Yeah.
No, like you want to keep doing him favors. I mean, I'm really generalizing and simplifying, but it's just amazing in so many different ways, like that Betty Crocker story.
I didn't think I'd get the opportunity to brag about this on the show today, but I have to. One of our viewers, Giselle, sent me an awesome recipe for the slow cooker, and I made like slow cooked chuck roast, and it was freaking amazing. No, I have to tell you guys, like
You
the slow
already
cooker. I like. Everyone should cook because the slow cooker makes it easy. You wash the ingredients, put it in the slow cooker, close it, go to bed, wake up, ba-bing, there's a meal. It's amazing.
And just throw one egg in.
I tasted this pot roast or chuck roast that Anna made today. The verdict is, she's right. It was terrific.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
so
Look at
happy.
that. So, like, if you were watching the post game, if you're a member, you get all this wonderful things. We talked a lot about Anna's slow cooking and